Hello everyone, Crash here, this is RTA Motorsports. So today what we're going to be talking about is my revisit of the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel. Here we go.
Welcome to RTA Motorsports.
So if you guys haven't seen it, it's one of the most popular videos on my channel. We did a full review of the Logitech Driving Force GT 2 years ago when the channel was still pretty new and I was still kind of getting the grasp of YouTube. I'm still not sure what the heck I'm doing on here. But we have just crossed 116,000 views. I'll have the link in the description. Definitely take a look at that video. But a lot has changed, and I keep getting questions about my current thoughts about this wheel, even though I don't own the wheel anymore. But a lot has changed. Like I said, we went from the Thrustmaster T1000 wheel, a 240 degree, I think it's 240 degree wheel, to the Thrustmaster TX, and now we have the Fanatec V2.5 wheelbase. Back then we had the Play Seat Challenge folding seat rig, and now we have a Prosimu T1000 2 degrees of freedom motion rig. A lot has changed. So how do I feel about it now? Well, recently I visited my parents cross country and helped my dad actually build his first gaming computer. He has my old motherboard with an FX 8350, 16 gigabytes of RAM. He also has an NVIDIA 1066 gigabyte card that he's planning on using an Oculus with. He's going to be picking up an Oculus soon and having fun sim racing. But he's going to use the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel that is still going. And it's actually the one we reviewed here. So I went back and I used it. I do have some footage here of a live stream I tried to do. He doesn't own webcam, so I used a phone app to try to record. So the video footage is not great, but I'm going to let you know what my thoughts were while we were doing this. Before we start racing away, I do got to say we have received this shirt from phantomgraphics.com. Definitely check them out if you want any custom logos, designs, or any sort of fan graphics put on anything, including stickers, vinyls, wraps, or shirts. That is phantomgraphics.com. I need to start by saying that I was very impressed with the setup process with this wheel. Again, still 2 years later, several years later after this wheel was actually made, the drivers can be found on Logitech's website just by Google searching Logitech Driving Force GT drivers and going to the Logitech website and downloading the correct ones. On top of that, I used it with a lot of the major sim racing titles that we all use: Automobilista, Assetto Corsa, Race from Racing Experience, as well as iRacing. I didn't get a chance to use it with Project Cars 2 because, well, my dad doesn't own Project Cars 2 yet. Maybe once he gets his Oculus that might change, but the setup process was very easy. A lot of the titles, including Race from Racing Experience and Assetto Corsa, recognized the wheel straight out of the gate, with only some fine-tuning being necessary as far as, you know, wheel rotation and whatnot. And it is important to note that you need to open up the Logitech software to configure the wheel past 240 degrees of rotation to be read, because by default it starts at 240. Once you set it, you forget it, set it at 900, and then it's automatically going to be mapped at 900. If you just jump in, the wheel will work, but past 240 degrees of rotation, it will not map that. I do gotta say, the wheel itself did convey a lot of the information that I'm used to, a lot of the information I look for in certain tracks. Now, by no account am I actually a competent sim racer that is going to be challenging the aliens or even the pro sim racers out there. I am more of a casual sim racer that just so happens to have a pretty nice rig and a nice computer, and I just love sim racing. But by no means take what I am saying as information from a pro standpoint. But that being said, from an average user like most of us out there, the Logitech Driving Force GT does convey a lot of the information we look for on the track. Us sim racers, we feel the track with our hands. Those of us that are lucky enough to have somewhat of a motion rig like myself, we do feel a lot of telemetry of the track from our motion rig, but still a lot of the car's information is still felt through our fingertips. And I do gotta say that the Logitech Driving Force GT was still conveying a lot of that information of slip, rear end loss, things like that that we are used to even from such an old rim like this. It's not to say that the wheel is necessarily smooth. The wheel does convey a lot of information, but there is still that gear mesh notchiness that you can expect from an older wheel. Now, as you all have known, I have tried many wheels, not all of them, but many wheels, minus the direct drive variants that are out on the market today. I have tried everything from the Thrustmaster T1000 all the way on up to now my Fanatec V2.5 wheelbase. I have recently tried the Thrustmaster T500. I had the TX. I've tried the Fanatec CSL line, not the elites that are currently out, the prior CSL line. So I've tried many wheels, including the Logitech G27 and 29 variants. I do gotta say that this wheel here is very reminiscent of the Logitech G27, as well as the Thrustmaster TMX, although it cannot shake a stick at those wheels as far as strength is concerned. The wheel's strength itself, although it does fight you and does let you know when you have grip and when you don't, and did surprise my dad as well as some of my cousins that came over and tried this wheel, it's not going to give you that fight that you would experience with a Thrustmaster TMX wheel or any other wheel that's a step up from there, like the Thrustmaster TX or anything like that. So you're not going to get an overly strong wheel, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily require that or necessitate a really strong wheel. There is still fight in the wheel, and the wheel is still surprisingly strong for its time period that the wheel came out, and it's still a very competent wheel to have a fun sim racing session. But I wouldn't say that it necessarily holds up to today's standards with just some of the almost shoulder-poppingly strong wheels that are out now. Another question that I get asked from a lot of the commenters on that video is, and that is my original review video, is being that it is an older wheel, an older standard, is there any sort of perceived lag, especially in the pedals? And no, there was no perceived lag at all. Everything was snappy, everything was normal, and that's what really surprised me. Although the pedal set, it almost like has like a VGA type connector into the wheelbase. The pedal set is just a gas and brake. The brake pedal actually has, for sitting in a office seat like this, actually has a decent amount of resistance that it gives you, so that way you kind of feel a linear pedal. It doesn't feel realistic to a modern day brake pedal, but it to me felt just as good as the base pedals that you get with a lot of Thrustmaster products, where you just get a gas and brake. No, it didn't have a metal face. It had a nice curved face to it, but I was surprised just how linear and easy it was to jump on those pedals and drive, to be honest with you. So in the end, I walked away realizing that the Logitech Driving Force GT is actually a really good wheel. It's one that a lot of people, a lot of my viewers on that original review have said that they have seen this wheel in their local thrift store of some kind, whether it be Goodwill or just a local thrift store. And if you could find one in that sort of setting, used or anything like that, awesome, pick it up, because it is an actual competent wheel. I was surprised by the amount of information I was given back from the wheel about the car that I was driving. Now, it is not to say that this wheel would be good in a drift setting. I know a lot of people now are interested in drifting. The wheel is actually slow to respond as far as counter steering is concerned. So drifting with this wheel is just, it's almost not possible because it doesn't counter steer in a timely fashion. It's pretty slow in that respect. But in actual racing, in Automobilista, in Assetto Corsa, anything like that, it is surprisingly good. And I can understand why a lot of people, especially in iRacing, a lot of pro sim racers are still using this wheel because, well, I mean, this wheel is it's probably more than 10 years old now, still works like the day it was new, and is still giving a lot of information that I was able to use just to jump on and drive around the track. That's a lot to say for a wheel nowadays. Anyway, I'm Crashless RTA Motorsports. I hope I helped you if you're thinking about getting into sim racing and you really don't have much money, you just want to just find something, or maybe you just came across this wheel, in a thrift store and you're thinking about just picking it up just to try it, definitely go for it. So, as usual, I hope you all have a great day.